Hi, it's Gadget UK here again, and this time we are switching on the Heiko and we're looking at a couple of different RAM boards, one for 500, one for 600. Turns out I need one for my 600, and well, yeah, it's looking a wee bit green that, and you're going to see the same thing on the 600 one. Wow, that's super furry. Really, really furry. So, yeah, I'm going to start by removing that battery. I'm just going to snip it off and then desolder the contacts. I'll give you a quick look on a microscope as well before we start to clean it. Just try and get in there like that. 3 contacts on this side. You see, if you squeeze at the wrong angle, you could actually damage a pad. Anyway, that's the water off there. It's got a raffle ticket on here, look. I obviously won number 107. You've won an A500 corroded RAM board. That is really bad. Let me get you on the microscope. But if you have a look around this, you can see, look at the pins on the chip. Everything's green. Everything's super green. Can't believe how green it is. Look at this here. Wow. That is really, really, really bad. Look at the white crystallised stuff around those. Anyway, I think there's a good chance we'll get this working, to be honest. It's going to be a lot of work though, isn't it? So yeah, we'll just start by having a scrub around it with some vinegar, I think. And if I just find a spot, let's do here, left side of this RAM. See if we see any fizzing. Nope, it's kind of gone inert, hasn't it? That's the thing, you see, you know, over the decades the alkaline reacts with things. You can see some bubbles there. Yeah, it reacts with things, you know, and then eventually it sort of loses its alkalinity. So, you know, there becomes a point of, well, it's too late, you know, you can clean up. And that's where this vinegar will help, you know, just have a real scrub on this, but you can see it looks green, the pins look green. Yeah. Maybe, I've just knocked my vinegar over. Maybe what I should do is just take the chips off and just keep the chips as spares, assuming they aren't absolutely balked. This is really bad. I think, based on how bad this is, and the fact that it's not like, you know, some ultra rare, you know, special Commodore board or something, when I've finished scrubbing this with vinegar, I'm going to go put this in the sink with some boiling water and some soap, and I'm going to scrub the heck out of it, and just see what difference that makes. We can ultrasonic it straight after that in some IPA, you know, to sort of rinse it off. But I'm just curious, you know, these green pins here, will those two things combined make any difference? The pins just get green as well, everything's green on here. That is quite possibly the worst RAM board I've ever seen. Because often the vinegar will start to, you know, clean things, and this is not doing anything really. Yeah, the next thing I'm going to do is get this in the sink and scrub it. Yeah, so scrubbing hot soapy water did next to nothing. Look how green they are. They are absolutely green. So, I'm going to use the wire brush. I'm going to put it in the ultrasonic, I think. I don't need quite that much. Yeah, I just want to see what difference does this make if I just have a scrub around here. Does any of this sort of come off? And no, it doesn't really. This is mysterious in that everything's coloured green. It doesn't really look rusted, it just looks green. I don't think the ultrasonic is going to make a slight bit of difference to the cleanliness of this now. But I don't know, maybe it will. What it probably needs is like soaking in, you know, I don't know, some sort of container with vinegar for 10 minutes at least, to start to try and eat the corrosion off. Right, that I think is all I want to do now before ultrasonic. I'll also give it one more go on this side here. Alright, I will report back. So is that any cleaner is the question, and what residue, if anything, is coming off. Yeah, nothing, there's no green in this now. So certainly any freestanding stuff has gone. But yeah, it's still looking pretty dull and grey and green. You know what, I think with this one, I might actually just remove the parts and test them. And scrap the board. You know, the corrosion's got into the caps, the resistors look awful. Every solder point is shot on it, the switch is shot on it, the connector's shot on it. This is why no one else bought it. And yeah, more on me here was the only person bidding on it. I wonder why. Yeah, this goes down as some of the worst corrosion I've ever seen. So these have been scrubbed with the wire brush. It's been ultrasonics, it's been soaked in vinegar and scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed. It's been washed in the sink with soap and water twice as well. It's awful, all the print's worn off, you can see everything looks green. The board has a little bit of corrosion there, still some moisture. You know, everything is affected here, all of these components. Those diodes are shot, the connectors, look at that, that's after being scrubbed with vinegar, with ultrasonic, so many things, you know. So many times, I must have spent 30 minutes messing with this. You can see, it's well until it's stuck on there. You could use a grinding pen to get some of this off, but yeah, I think this is a no-hoper, this one. Which is unusual for my channel, you know, I'll generally try and fix everything, but yeah, this connector's awful. I wouldn't want to put it into any of my Amigas just to test it, I don't think. Because the chances are, I reckon I plug that in now, it might work. But, well, I don't know, maybe not, because it might not make a good connection. I think I'm just going to remove the RAM from this one, and we'll test the RAM chips. Yeah, this one is too far gone. I'll save the real-time clock chip as well. The real-time clock chip, yeah, I bet that works okay. It's not very green, that. The legs look straight, so I'm just going to use hot air and pull these off, I think. I'm not sure about the real-time clock, I'll do that after. But I'm just going to get the extractor like that, if I can. It's quite hard trying to balance everything, hold everything here. This chip's the one that's sort of crooked on the board as well, so I don't know, it might come off a bit easier. It doesn't look like it's all the way through. Yeah, getting the leverage is pretty hard on a small board like this. Wow, that is proving very difficult to get off. Wow, it was hard to get off there. The pads are all alright, no damage at all. Hence why I think if we plug this in, provided we didn't get a bad connection here, I bet it would work okay. I actually think the PCBs survive. Yeah, so letting the board cool down, so this is one of the RAM chips here, you can see all the print's gone. It would have had a Motorola part number, that's the symbol there. Look at the legs. So yeah, this was, I think, a good call to scrap this. And it'd be interesting to see if any of these work. And how clean can we get them? Yeah, you can see that's not too bad. By the time I've got some flux and drag some braid over that, it'll come out okay. But it's just a question of, you know, these little bits here, did the corrosion actually get right into the body of the chip? Right, so I cleaned up two of those chips, just testing the first one. And it works. Actually, so I've got one of them that works, which is a bit of a miracle because they are super green. I'll get the wrist strap on before I just change the next one again. So yeah, I've just been focusing on this spot. Hang on, wherever. No, I haven't. I've been focusing on this spot here. Yeah, it's got the Motorola symbol on it. The printer's all gone. That one there, the printer's all gone as well. It's amazing how many of these, when they do get just a little bit of corrosion, the label disappears. So yeah, tinned them up, cleaned them up. I spent 20 minutes or something cleaning those two, 10 minutes each. But if you look at the legs on them, yeah, they look pretty pristine. And yeah, there was green bits on the edges here, on both sides, all round the pin set. And I spent quite some time with flux and braid, the wire brush, the fiberglass pen. There's still some green in this here, I'll show you in a minute. Just up in these pins here. But anyway, that first one is good, which is, yeah, was a nice thing. So here's the next one. Yeah, print mostly worn off, pin one down here. So if we stick that into the socket, finger press it just to make sure it doesn't go hot. I'm not expecting all of these to work, but be pleasantly surprised if they do. Yeah, no green screens or anything with that. Is it going to show 1 meg? Yep, 1 meg. It's just a Ref 6 board, this, with half a meg on board and obviously half a meg in the expansion. So if it tests the full 1 meg as it is doing here, then that shows that's alright. Yay, another working chip. And here's a look at how I clean these up. So look how bad they are. Let me just tilt this so you can see straight away how green they are, but just look at this. Look at that. They're horrific. This is why I had no confidence that any of these would be alright, because look where it is. It's like right in between the, you know, the plastic carrier there. You know, it's like, it's right up on the edge, going right in. And even when you clean with the wire brush here like this, you can see it doesn't all come off. And as you rotate the chip around, if I just get a focus, look here, it's right on the join of the body. You know, you get like little metal points that stick out here. This one's not too bad. The other one's just like really green here in the divide there, where that pin wraps all the way around the edge there, which shows you that the corrosion's got like right up, you know, it's followed the metal connection into the plastic body. But I mean, so far, 2 out of 2 are okay. So anyway, you'd be amazed at how, with a bit of effort here, something as decrepit as this could be, well, cleaned up and then tested and proven working and used as a spare at some point for something. So yeah, I use the wire brush here, circle a little bit, try and get in between, because like I say, you get the green bits, as you can see them here. It goes here. And it goes right on the edges here. And, you know, potentially under there, look. So yeah, this is why it's a multi-step thing, crazy amount of time. Is it really worth it? Well, it's for me. I can get a lot out of restoring something like this and potentially reusing it. It may save some of the expansion or motherboard in future. So the more of these I have spare, the merrier, really. Anyway, you get the idea. That's one side done. So I'll do the same thing on this side here. Look at the state of that. And then wipe with some IPA, and then toothbrush with some IPA. Look at the underside there, it's horrific. But also get it flat on the mat here, and use the fiberglass pencil as well, and the wire brush. So, you know, I'll do this side like this. You have to be careful not to bend the legs. Yeah, so this one really is the worst. It's had its preliminary clean. You can see lots of corrosion on the tops. Look at this here. It looks green on the actual plastic. It's amazing how that stuff eats into the body, you know, and around here. So I'm calling it now with this one. I don't think this one's going to work. I'm even sort of using the fiberglass on here, like this, on the actual plastic bit, because of how green this is. You can see it's awful. And on here, I mean, the print's gone anyway, so, you know, what have we got to lose, really? Just, oh, look at that, it's like all chalky, it's horrible. And then, of course, you know, you wipe with some IPA, and yeah, it does come up a bit cleaner. Anyway, let's just give this a bit of a wipe that way. Yeah, you can see where I've done it and where I haven't. Yeah, this bit here, it's got the stuff stuck on, look. With IPA and then toothbrush with IPA stuff I just remove. Anyway, so let's get this one in. Feels like I've been doing this forever. The other thing is, if the legs aren't straight, straighten them with some pliers. I'm just going to go along like that. I know I've got the Cather's leg straightener, but that's not really what I need. They're not gull-winged, they're just sort of bent in a weird orientation slightly. Straighten anything that needs it. Right, let's get that in. Pin one towards the bottom. Finger on top, switch it on. It's not getting hot. Now, because this is chip RAM, it would give a green screen if it's bad, so let's just see. Are we going to get a green screen? TV's coming on still. Actually, no, it's booted. Test kit, let's see if we have 1 meg. Yep, 1 mega chip, test all memory. See if it passes. I mean, it'd be amazing if it does. It's pretty resilient, that Motorola RAM, isn't it? You see how green it was? There we go, it's passed. Oh my god. So I just need to finish cleaning up the last chip. I'll report back whether that's successful or not. But so far, that's 3 out of 4 that are good. Right, number 4. Oh yes, all 4 chips work. Which is a minor miracle considering how corroded this PCB is. You know, I'm not going to use this. There's no way. It's just so bad. It really is. It's horrific. Despite how many scrubs, how much vinegar, that is just awful. I'll take this real-time clock chip off next. We've got a socketed space there for a real-time clock, so we can test it on there. I think it's the same one. Yeah, so with a real-time clock chip, it's pretty immaculate. I haven't even needed to use flux and braid on this, if you look at it. I mean, I will use flux and braid in a minute. Preliminary pass. There's like literally no greeniness on it at all. It's amazing what a difference it makes, the proximity to the battery. I mean, there's just not a single bit of green on it. It's amazing what a difference. And obviously, you know, you can see the part number and everything. Even on the underside, I think it's looking pretty good. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Not bad at all. Oh no, just realised, brown alert. I'm nearly out of flux. I've got that tiny little bit left there. Anyway, I'll sort that out. The chip, hang on, wrist strap on. Yeah, this real-time clock chip, it looks immaculate. It looks like the day it came from the factory. The nice thing with these chips that I've removed from that PCB is they've all got full-length legs. They haven't been trimmed down at all. That is really good. Looks a bit dirty on the underside, but there's no greeniness whatsoever. So let's switch this off and take the real-time clock chip out. It is exactly the same one. I'm going to need to use the pointy thing there just because it's, there you go, squished a bit flat and flush. And we'll set the time of day here. So let's do reset, save and exit. There we go. So that is progressing. Switch it off. I'll leave it for about a minute and I'll show you. Right, that's been roughly 1 minute. It might be less than a minute, I don't know. I've been daydreaming, lost track of time. It's booting from external drive, so it's a bit slow. Yeah, I've got no more internal drives to hand. I do have several, I think, in the loft. So if we have a look at real-time clock, there we go. Tuesday, 28th of May, 14:26. Yeah, it's a little bit behind here, but that is working. So all in all, whilst it would have been better to have tried to repair that, yeah, pointless I think, because it's just going to cost, you know, I don't know, several pounds for all the bits I need to replace on there. And it is a bit corroded, and you can argue it got a bit delaminated. Can you see here, this pattern? That's from too much heat, and it looks a bit dark there. Yeah, I had a lower airflow when I started on this chip here, and as a result got a bit too hot around there. And similarly here, it got a bit aggressive there, a bit too much heat, so you know, you can argue it started to delaminate there, but I mean it didn't delaminate. I could make that PCB work again, I'm sure of it, but I just don't see any point, because I've got a few of these hanging around now. It's better, I think it's better to just put these chips into my spares. And another bit of info here, looking at some other real-time clock chips. I've got some for the 4000 here, and I've got some that were Epson branded. Now I got these for the, I'm trying to think now, it's that RAM board I got from Chris, was it the BootBip? I think it was the BootBip one where it was 2.5 meg or something like that, or 1.5 meg. There were various configuration options. You could have this megabits chip RAM, or you could have some of this slow RAM or whatever. But that used the Epson RTC 72421. Now I got these with the intent of putting one of those on that board, and I never did it. So I've got like 5 of them. I've just took one of them out and put it in here after checking the pin out, because it's the same as the Oki M6242B, and it works just the same. I think there might be a difference though, and I think maybe it has an internal oscillator. Maybe it doesn't need this 32.768 kilohertz crystal. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'd need to check the data sheet. I might even stick a comment top left. But nevertheless, the pinouts are the same. So you can get, you know, those Oki chips that you can no longer find, the M6242Bs. And it does say there's a 7242B or A. I don't know. This one's a 72421. I guess that's the thing, isn't it? When it says 7242 there, this is a 7242, but it's a 72421 revision A. Got a weird part number on these. They start RTC. RTC 72421A. Anyway, you can use the Epson chips, so, and those are still available. I think you can buy them from Farnell and DigiKey and stuff. Dip ones might be getting hard to find, but you can, yeah, you can still buy chips that are compatible with these Amigas. Right, so next on the bench is this Amiga A600 RAM upgrade. Came in its box and everything, look. That's quite cool, even with a manual. So I'm guessing this one must have been like, I don't know, in storage or something, and maybe in a shop, and then the battery's corroded. It's not too bad, this. Yes, there's a lot of furriness there. The pins are just a wee bit green in places along here, but actually this is much more chance of being able to salvage this. So we'll do exactly the same thing. We'll start by cutting off the battery, and then we'll clean around with some vinegar and just see if we can get this up and running. Now there are obviously much more modern solutions to add RAM to my Amiga 600, but I need a RAM board, so I figure, and this is what I always do, I'll either build something myself generally or fix something. I just prefer to do that. I end up with a system that's comprised of all faulty bits that I fixed, more or less. So anyway, let's just get the microscope on again. Yeah, and pointing you at Kavanagh's cam there, it's just to try and get a bit more focus. So Hyundai RAM, I think, HY534256S-70, 70 nanoseconds. If we go to the point over here, yeah, so look, they're just a wee bit green. There is some crystallised stuff here that's pretty bad, but they're not bad at all. They're not bad at all, just a little bit of discoloration there. No real damage to this PCB. The real-time clock chip looks alright. And if we just rotate this around and I just pull the camera up, yeah, if you have a look at the pins, so yeah, they are green. There is greeniness in there, but that's the kind of greeniness that's going to be able to come out with some vinegar and scrubbing, I think. And of course we could, it's pretty bad there, we could replace that connector. It's a micro bit, isn't it, I think. So, you know, ultimately I might actually just get a new connector for it. But let's just see how we get on. Right, let's just use a cotton bud with some vinegar here. Let's just see. See it fizzing? Fizzy, fizzy, fizzy. And there, look at that. Wow, it's really going for it. Yeah, I'm going to tilt it away from the connector. If I am going to try and clean this, I'd rather... Yeah, really fizzy. Those pins there are barely going to be making a connection, I think. Oh. Anyway, let's just step up to the toothbrush. You can see the cotton bud. Hang on. You can see the cotton bud is green, look. And I think actually, based on how fuzzy that is, I'm going to use the wire brush rather than toothbrush. So, you know, we'll just dip dip that into some vinegar here, and just have a little scrub like this with it. Yeah, that connector may need replacing, but you know what? That's not bad. It's coming up. There's blue bits holding on for the dear life there. Let's come off. Look. Yeah, I feel positive about this. I think I'm going to be able to clean this and use it. Yeah, this is the key bit, really, isn't it? Like, what happens here? They're not too bad because the gold plated, you see. So if you're unlucky and the gold plating got corroded, you can see them fizzing there, then you know, the corrosion can set in. But this looks unused. I actually don't think this has been in an A600, other than maybe when it was manufactured and first tested. So you may find the gold plating, and I think that's the case, is intact there all the way along. There's a pin there that looks recessed. Can you see that? Just there. Yeah, so it's come up a lot cleaner. It does look pretty dull down here. They're all going to need resoldering, reflowing. I've got most of the greeniness off though, but we got a trace here, look, and a via that's going to need fixing for sure. Wow, that's a bit solid. I don't know what that is. It's like a solid balled up. It could just be solder that's got under the solder mask, because it's really lumpy there. Let me just get the focus a bit better. Yeah, this is solid, whatever this is here. Right, let's just get the fiberglass pencil on here and just have a scrub. You see, there was a lot of flux on it, and this is why it looks browny here now. It's not rust, it's actually the flux that's got on there. Bit more vinegar. Still see a bit of fizzing there, look. So yeah, it does need more work with vinegar. Right, so scrubbing the sink with hot soapy water. I did get two of the nylon bristles of a brush stuck in there, and I had to cut them off. I don't want to pull them because I may damage it. I can get those out in a minute. Anyway, I'm now going to put it in the ultrasonic cleaner just to rinse it off. Anyway, let's get that in there and switch it on. And here we are back on the bench. So, yeah, it's looking a lot cleaner. The PCB in general is, let's say, very clean. It's just that connector. Now, I was looking, can we replace it, that connector? We can't. Well, I think not easily, because it's through hole part, you know, the points are vertical or whatever. All the ones I can see on eBay are all mostly, apart from one, they're all through hole. Yeah, they're alright. The solder points are really dull, but it's actually alright. So I think what I would do next is get some flux on here and some braid and just clean up here, clean up the traces, absorb the solder, maybe try and reflow this side. That side, maybe just up here. But other than the solder points looking dull, which they're going to do anyway because they're soldered with, you know, a lead alloy, and you never know, it might actually work. But I do need to get rid of these two bits of fibre here carefully, and the two pins that are sunk down, I need to get a needle in just to see if I can push them out a little bit, because those aren't going to make a connection. That might be why it was in that thing. It's like if a shop somewhere was trying to sell this and it came back as a return and the pins were pressed in, they may have just like put it back on the shelf, forgot to return it to their supplier. It's annoying that things get stuck in here really easy like those things. Anyway, we'll try and get those out with the microscope now. I'll just use the cav tweezers. Yeah, you can see as I use the brush there, two of the bristles got, in fact a few more than two of them got trapped, but I don't really know how that happened. I think it's just a consequence. Yeah, it's a consequence of the pin moving as you brush them. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to pull that out without damaging the pin. Maybe I need to pull with something with more force, I don't know. This is the point where I now damage it beyond repair. You can still see some green in there, look, as well. Can I grab that? I can't. Let's try that one. Oh my god, how's it got like that? It's so hard because I can't really get any meaningful grip with these tweezers. They're just like, well, not working. Right, I got those out using the magnifier from my mum and dad actually. So, surprisingly, after scrubbing these with a toothbrush, can you see what I can see? They've all gone back to where they should be. Those pins have all moved. Scrubbing it with soap and water, the debris is all freed up and all the pins are out. Now we do have, very clearly, 3 points that you can see with green bits on that need just chipping off, I think. And it's just a question of how. I don't know. It may, just with a little bit of friction, come off. Yeah, it's just some solid blue stuff on top. And there's a bit down there as well, look. This is where a grinding pen would really help, I think. Because if you used a grinding pen, you might be able to get it in there and just like grind a little bit on the surface, and then it would free it up. Yeah, I think some deoxit with some paper to finally clean that. It's a question, you see, it's a question of whether that surface there is going to make a good electrical connection. Let's just get some flux there. Just going to start on this bit, but I might do the whole thing along here. It's probably not going to absorb this, is it? Oh my goodness, the shape of the braid at the end is not helping. Yeah, so surprisingly, this is coming up okay. So this is the underside here where the two wires were a wee bit short. And yeah, the pins look a bit grey on this side compared to the side I've just cleaned and reflowed a little bit. So this is where, you know, we really should just like scratch over these, tin them up, and maybe plug them, you know, join through to the other side. Yeah, I think that needs cleaning out. It's actually, you know, corroded through. And back into the ultrasonic for a second go. Right, I've had a clean around here. So those vias are going to block them. You can see the points they've been resoldered. They're looking pretty clean all the way along here, look. Yeah, a bit fluffy here. Certainly on that first pin. So I think one of the things I'll just do here is just have a little scratch there. I tested these and they are joined through, but I just figure while I'm plugging one or two things, let's just plug them anyway. Despite the fact the connection is going all the way across and through. Yeah, just bend it up that way, like that, and then maybe squish it flat here. Anyway, oh, hang on. Anyway, you get the idea. It's a case of, I'll tell you what, let's solder it here first. I'm going quite large there, look. Anyway, I don't care. And solder it here. I'll do, maybe a bit here. There we go. I'm comfortable with that. There's a trace here just to tin a little bit, look. So if we just get that right onto the edge of that and then just go this way, I might need to redo that wire above. Yeah, just maybe heat that. Maybe a bit more solder now. There we go. Let's just flip it over and have a look at the other side, just make sure that's still in place. It is. So that all looks good. So then the other one, let's just get a wire through from this side here. Dry it off, and I'll probably just used a bit of hot air on it actually, just because we're going to get moisture trapped inside it. Yeah, none of those are bridged with each other, so yes, it looks dull and grey, but what it doesn't look is green. We've reinforced the vias, fixed that trace, and looking down it, it looks spotless. There's no green, all the pins are all in the right position. So I've got a good level of confidence with this, but what I will do, before we stick it in, we'll just get a piece of folded paper here. Got a piece of folded paper, and let's get some deoxit on it, and just have a slide up and down with that. I mean, the gold plated and they're still completely gold. You know, there was that one or two where I just wiped gently, but you know what, they look alright. There's no discoloration there. So place your best. Do you reckon it's going to work? You know when you keep losing things, I keep losing things on this desk. Right, let's try. I don't really like using a flat blade, but let's just try. There we go, prise like that. Oh, yeah, it's quite wide, that thing. There you go. So, well, logic says it's got to go that way, isn't it? You couldn't get it that way without a lot of stress. Wow, this is hard to get in. What were they thinking? This is the thing with a modern board, you might find it easier to get in. There we go, we're just going to hope I didn't damage anything there. Yeah, anyway, let's just get that cover back on as well, I think. Oh my god, is that even going to go in? The switch sticks out here. That's a bit of a bad design, isn't it? Why would you put the switch like that there so you can't get the lid on? That's so stupid. Anyway, we can deal with that switch. And of course it may be switched off at the moment. Oh, it's booting from IDE, hang on. I'd forgotten I've got IDE in there, haven't I? And my mouse is not plugged in. Wait to see what it says on the desktop there. Before we had about 300k left. Let's move the mouse. Now I've got 600k left. That's not good, is it? That is not good. Maybe it's switched off. Let's switch the machine off and switch that switch over. And it could be that the switch has got corrosion in it. See what happens this time. Memory. 2 meg, look. Test all memory. So yeah, I think that switch needed switching over, didn't it? Because it's gone up the range already. You know, each test it's going over the whole range there. So generally, unless you've got an actual RAM fault somewhere, you know, in a specific location, after like 1.1, 1.2, you'll find the RAM's alright generally. Oh yes, that was not a bad pickup, was it? It was about, I don't know, £8 or £9. That is not bad at all. So if we boot from IDE now, it should have some more RAM. We should be able to actually run something from WHD load. Rewrite. There's a huge difference. The old version's so slow, there were so many little issues with it. I mean, there are some bugs with the new version. The new version is not perfect. Yay, it works. Fantastic. Right, let's try and get it out. Strap back on. So, gradually. I want to inspect that. Let's just have a look. It looks alright. It looks pretty spotless, to be fair. We'll just, however, wipe it with IPA now we've had that on there. Yeah, they're like good as new. They're good as new. From the second ultrasonic, I think, you know, I got it pretty spotless. So I'm going to unblock that position there, maybe get a CR2032 holder on. It's going to have to go on this side, I think, because if you had it on this side, it's going to have the same issue where the flap won't close, maybe. Because it would stick up quite a long way, and there's a lot more space under. But I was also thinking I should flip this switch. I think I should desolder this and put it on the other blooming side. And we'll start with that switch because, well, it's the easy thing to do, isn't it, really? Just heat and desolder these 3 points. So what I'll do here is just rock it a little bit, I think, just press into it. You know. Maybe that first point is not very free. Yeah, there we go, it's rocking. You wouldn't want to do that if you had a lot of solder because you could damage it, but pads are alright, look. So I'm just going to simply take it off, flip it here, like this. That cap's right in the way now. Tell you what, let's see if we can put it the other way, but it might stick out too far. No, let's try it. No, that's going to be alright, because there is a bit of space, isn't there, so we'll mount it there, and it wants to be in the... let's just do that now, before I forget. It's going to be the other way around. You know, if you flip the orientation, it wants to be in that position to be on. So you can reach that like that now, from the inside of the case still. Assuming there is enough clearance for that to fit there. I don't see why there wouldn't be. Yeah, so what I've got to work out here now is where the positive is. And the positive is here, it's marked there, there's a plus. You can't see it on the PCB, so the ground's over here. And we need a diode I think maybe what we should do is remove this resistor here and put a diode there. So that, I think, just looking at this, yeah, I can see where the real-time clock gets its power from now. The real-time clock gets its power from this resistor. So if we remove this resistor and put a diode with its anode on the right, its cathode on the left, the battery positive can only feed the power towards the real-time clock, and then the real-time clock picks it up from the other side of that resistor. So that's going to be a really simple mod, I think. I'm going to stick this down, yeah, and I'm going to shorten these wires because, well, it's just a waste of a cable tie otherwise, isn't it? I'm going to stick it like that there, yeah. So I've got my double-sided Hills pad here. Right, that's it. Those contacts in the second bay do need to just touch each other. And measuring across the battery here from its ground point to up there, you can see we've got 2.6 volts. It's bouncing around a fair bit. But anyway, that is right. So the real-time clock chip is now being powered by that. And this can't be powered by the charge circuit because the positive connection, the only... Hang on, I'm saying the only. I see something going off down there. What's that? I was going to say the only point going to it is the diode. The positive doesn't go anywhere else apart from the resistor that was feeding it. Probably like a 470 ohm, wasn't it, I think? So that should be it. Right, I'll get the bits of UV solder mask on in a minute. Let's just give it a try. Right, and here we are in test kit again. There we go. Reset. Set time day. Right, that's about right. So let's power cycle it and see if it holds the time day. Into the real-time clock, there we go. Yeah, so it's working. Woohoo! And hopefully it should have 2 meg. Hang on, we've got 1 meg. Where's the memory gone? Yeah, what I'm not sure about here is, did I leave it switched in the wrong way? Because when we flip, I don't know. I thought that would have to change it the other way around. Let's put it that way. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I didn't need to flip the switch. Like bad connection, maybe. Oh no, we got the memory backlog. Yeah. So when I flipped it to the other side, strangely enough, maybe because I changed the orientation, it's pointing upwards instead of downwards, I didn't need to flip the switch the other way around. If that makes sense. Quite why you'd want to switch off 1 meg of chip RAM, I don't know. Answer that one. It kind of made sense with older games and things. When you had 512k and you went to a meg, you might want to switch off that half a meg, but not with chip RAM. I can't think of anything that doesn't work when you've only got, you know, when you've got more than half a meg of chip RAM, for example, or more than 1 meg. Anyway, that is working. Yeah. And a final quick look down the slot here. You can see all the pins are perfect. That one's a little bit sticky outy. Yeah, I lifted the battery flap off again just so I could get under there and put some UV solder mask. So like, that's that bit done. And yeah, I'll stick just a little bit here as well, and then maybe a little bit on the underside. Yeah, and the last little bit of UV solder mask there, so just a couple of points covered really. Everything else on this looks alright, you know, the connector looks fine, inside and out. So yeah, it goes a bit blobby look, it's got a bit of blobby there, and that might not actually be completely dry. But yeah, if you look at it in the light, see the solder points, how they join to the PCB? They're fine. And whilst that's running a little bit of turrican there from WHD load, I figured let's have a quick look at the instructional leaflet here, I'll show you. Yeah, there's still not enough RAM, see that flickering? That's what it does when it pages in and out of chip RAM. So you need some fast RAM for sure. Certainly with this game. I can't honestly remember how many discs it was, it may have been a 2-disc game in this game. Anyway, in a later video, I think I'll get some fast RAM for this, or some sort of CPU accelerator card maybe. Yeah, so have a look at this. It's a switch off and unplug the Amiga power supply. Never connect or disconnect the RAM module whilst it's on. Yeah, really? You honestly need to tell people these things? Place the computer facing down, locate RAM expansion cover the centre, and with a small screwdriver insert into the slot, remove access door. In Amiga OS, it tells you commands, you know, date, set the date and the time. Set clock, opt save. That's how you do it at the command line. It's ages since I've done that. Anyway, it's interesting, isn't it? And it's really curious to get one with a box. It's like, how unusual is that to get a RAM upgrade second hand off eBay in its original box with its original manual? Anyway, really pleased. So it's been in there for a few weeks. I've been using the 600 a fair bit with it. Yeah, 2 meg is not enough. I really do need to add some fast RAM to this. And of course, the machine speeds up slightly when you add some fast RAM. The solder points are fine on that. Yeah, and it's still holding time and date stuff. Yeah, and you can see what I mean now, you know, like faulty machine repaired, well, actually built, because we didn't have a case and stuff for this, thanks to Electronash, the 600. There'll be a link to the 2-part series for that below. But we've now got a RAM board and real-time clock that we've fixed as well. The floppy drive in this 600 is obviously a repair from a previous video. The mouse was a repair from a previous video. The power supply for this is a repair from a previous video. This is the thing, I always buy everything faulty where I can and then fix everything up. It's, yeah, anyway, hopefully you found that interesting. Yeah, let's try and get that back in, that's really stiff. Yeah, it's a shame we couldn't fix that 500 one, but you know what, I could have fixed that 500 one. I just felt like it was way too corroded, really, because it would have needed a new connector, and that's an important point, actually. You know, one of the risks you take when you reuse a corroded connector is it could damage your, you know, the pins that go into it, or in this case here, the edge connector. And that was why when I first took it out, I inspected and cleaned up, just to make sure that none of the corrosion residue had damaged any of the pads, or, you know, any corrosion had fallen off and got on there. But that board went through the ultrasonic about 3 or 4 times. Anyway, I do hope you found the video interesting. If you'd like to support the channel, please see the Ko-fi and Patreon links down below. I'll catch you in the next one.